Good morning. Today we're going to be looking at the strong and weak characters that are presented in Of Mice and Men in order to look at some of the themes developed through the strong and weak dichotomy that Steinbeck presents in the book. So, first of all, what is a strong character? A strong character has at least two of the following character traits: physical strength, social strength, meaning that on the social ladder, they're higher up, they're not ostracized in society. We know in the 1930s, during segregation, African Americans would not have been considered socially strong. Women who did not have many rights at this time would not have been considered socially strong. The elderly at this time were considered a burden on society, not socially strong. The mentally ill were not really considered socially strong. There wasn't a lot of understanding of psychology in the 1930s. So those would have been social weaknesses versus social strengths. And then, of course, mental strength. If you're really smart or you're really perceptive, that would be mental strength. So who are strong characters in this novel? Number one, we have Curly. He's a smart guy, and his social strength, he's the boss's son. He is supposed to be above all the other characters socially because he's their boss's son. He doesn't have to work. He can wear high-heel boots in the at the ranch, which is a huge symbol for him of his social status. Then we have Slim. Slim's got it all. Mentally, he is perceptive. He picks up on things no one else picks up on. Physically, he's a strong guy. He's a jerkline Skinner. And socially, he is in charge more even than Curly. People follow his lead. When Curly's hand is crushed by Lenny, one look from Slim, one comment from Slim, Curly, his mouth is shut. He's not telling anyone what happened. And then we have George. George is mentally strong. He's a sharp guy. He's perceptive. He picks up on things. He knows when something is dangerous, when it's not. And he's physically strong, right? One of the first things described about him is his tight muscles. Which characters are weak? We have Lenny. Lenny has an obvious mental illness, so he is mentally weak. That mental illness, ironically, also causes him to be socially weak because he is ostracized from society. The only reason he's accepted is his friendship with George. Candy, he is physically weak. He's missing a hand. He's also socially weak because he's elderly, so he's considered a burden on society. Then we have Crooks. Crooks, his crooked back makes him physically weak, and he's socially weak. He is African American during a time of segregation. This leads to him being ostracized from society. Even in the ranch, he can't sleep in the bunkhouse. He's forced to sleep with the horses in the barn. And then we have Curly's wife, who is physically weak. She is a woman. Physically, she cannot handle as much as the men on the ranch. She's not doing any physical labor. And socially, she's weak. Again, because she is a woman, she does not have the social rights that other men have. So, what themes are developed? The first is the oppression of the weak. This is the most obvious. First, we have it through Candy's realization that he's worthless on the ranch when his dog is shot. Then we have Curly picking on Lenny, and Lenny waiting for permission to defend himself. Curly is literally punching Lenny, and he looks to George for permission to defend himself, and when he does, we do see how strong he is. But his strength doesn't really matter. His defending himself could have gotten him fired with one word from Curly. Then we have Crooks and Curly's wife being ostracized. Candy's eventually going to be ostracized when he's no longer useful, just as they are, because of their place in society. We have someone who's African American, we have a woman, and we have an elderly individual who in the 1930s all would have been ostracized. So that's how we have oppression of the weak. We see the weak characters being held down by the society around them, and the strong characters rising above them. Then we have the importance of friendship. This we can see just through the fact that Lenny is being accepted amongst the ranchers only because he's friends with George. Without George, Lenny would not have gotten a job there. He would not be accepted by the ranchers, and he would probably be teased by them. Then we have the American dream. Lenny and Candy, as weak characters, have little chance of achieving the dream without George. In fact, the dream of a ranch is only necessary to their survival. Whereas George, if he doesn't go to the ranch, it's not a big deal. He can always get another job. Lenny and Candy eventually are not going to be worth much. So it's going to be really important for them to be able to achieve this dream in order to survive.